FX9 owners are looking at the cameras a little differently nowadays, but should they switch? Let's talk about the Sony FX6. What's good, family? Welcome back, and if this is your first time here, my name is Courtney Hill. I shoot music videos and I love all things tech, and if you're a fan of those things, consider subscribing because we can probably be friends. Alright, so the first question I was asked by others and also asked myself when this camera was announced was, am I keeping the FX9? Now let's start this by saying the FX6 is an amazing camera and everything it needed to be in order to compete in today's market. But when it comes to getting rid of your FX9 for the FX6, only you can answer that question. But what I will say is that this camera release is a bigger influence on those in the market for an A7S III versus those that are in the market for an FX9. Let's run down some of the similarities between the FX6 and the FX9 first. Some of the things it has in common. Of course, it matches the FX9's video capture with DCI 4K 60, has S-Cinetone, S-Log3, HLG gamma choices, outputs 16-bit RAW like the FX9, also has of course Sony E-mount lenses, offers the same variable ND filter with 1/4 to 1/128 ND options, also provides 2-channel XLR inputs. Now without a doubt, these are the best features brought down from the FX9, and they're necessary for the FX6 to have them in order to be considered to round out this cinema line from Sony. Early on, before specs were confirmed, I was worried that the features wouldn't live up to FX9 because of the fear of killing FX9 sales, but Sony didn't pull any punches. The list of differences is very short, but let's cover them anyway. So of course there's 4K capture versus 6K on the FX9. The FX6 only has one SDI port compared to the 2 SDI ports on the FX9. Also incorporates timecode port, but lacks the FX9's Genlock connector, which is useful for broadcast. It's also missing the professional lens lock system versus the common mirrorless lock system that just twists on the lock. This will give you that mirrorless wobble that people talk about. And of course the build quality on the FX9 is mostly metal versus the mostly plastic build on the FX6. Now onto the improvements over the FX9. This is where people get upset. The FX6 is going to have improved low light performance with an ISO range of 320 to 409,600 versus the FX9's 320 to 102,400 range. Also the top frame rates for the FX6 being 120 in 4K and 240 in HD versus the FX9's 2K in 120, which is really 1080 and 120. Also, the FX6 has the dual card slots, including the faster and more durable CF Express Type A or the widely available SDXC cards, the V60, V90 cards that everyone owns, compared to the FX9's reliance on a proprietary XQD card. When I actually got a chance to use the camera on a shoot, I will say that I would rather have it as a B cam to the FX9 versus a replacement. Its size and weight makes it perfect for a one-man show. Down to the button placement and one-handed accessibility, the FX6 is amazing for the run and gun shooter. And having the same color science makes it perfect for A/B cam work over the A7S III in my opinion. The biggest takeaway I have from using the FX6 this past week is the ergonomics. Like the fact that it comes in less than 2 pounds. This thing is super light, it's super small, it's half the size of my FX9, which is nuts to me. Of course, when you're using the side handle, you're probably going to have it in this position, right? You're going to have 2 points of contact on it, and all the buttons are accessible with your left thumb. It makes it super easy for run and gun shooting. This is the perfect camera for someone that's looking to get into cinema cameras, and you want to forego the A7S III. You don't take any pictures. You want something that's more cinema oriented. This is the go. This is the pick. This is the one. I'm telling you, this is the one. Another thing that tells me this is intended for the one-man band, the run and gun shooter, is the fact that this is all toolless operation. So in order to build this up or break it down, you don't need a screwdriver or a hex tool. All you need is your fingers. You just thumb screw the top handle on. This side grip comes off like a quick release, comes off like a lens actually, which is pretty cool. So you just twist it off and then just line up these white dots to get it on there, and it snaps back in place. But yeah, this is such a great little package, and for small shoots or for run and gun stuff, passion projects, hell, even professional projects, I feel like this camera offers a ton for the price and for the form factor. Now if you're shopping around and you're looking at the A7S III and you're coming from an A6000 series camera or an A7 III and have E-mount lenses, spend the extra money and get the FX6, if video is your priority. Now, if you own an FX9 and want something smaller, by all means grab the FX6, but in my opinion, I think the FX9 still has a lot to offer. I've been told from a reliable source that Q1 2021 will bring a huge 3.0 update, adding 4K 120, autofocus and S&Q, and full 6K readout. These are welcome features, but one thing I doubt comes is RAW over SDI, but I hope I'm wrong about that. Buying that big ass adapter to shoot RAW internally is not a good look. To sum it up, I'll share the same sentiment that I shared on the A7 III video. Don't feel limited by your gear. If you're looking at the FX9 sideways right now, ask yourself if you've really taken advantage of what your camera has to offer. If you haven't pushed the FX9 to its limits, you won't do any more with the FX6. Now, when it comes to the debate of the FX9 versus the FX6, I honestly believe that the FX9 is the better camera if you're looking for a higher ceiling. Having the gen lock and the broadcast features, and also there is some debate of bit rates versus codecs and what looks better. I'll say that I think the FX9 footage looks a little sharper in my opinion, and that can be attributed to the 6K sensor. But full disclosure with you guys, just so you don't think that I'm trying to justify my purchase of an FX9, I personally did not pay anywhere near full retail cost for the FX9. I actually paid less money than you would pay for an FX6 for this FX9. So if anyone stands to benefit from selling an FX9 and getting an FX6, it's me. But I really do believe that the FX9 has a bit more in its chamber. I think it has a lot more to offer with the firmware updates that are coming. It's already crazy what they've added already to this camera through firmware updates, and I think they just have much more down the pipeline. But what do I know? I just point cameras at people. I'll be down in the comments talking to you guys. Thanks for watching, of course. Until next time, stay fresh. Peace.